As we get ready here down at Chapman Stadium, as the Panthers make their grand entrance with the bagpipes, they got a lot of big bagpipe energy here today in the beautiful city of Orange, California. As we take a look upon the scene of the Cal Poly Mustangs taking on the Chapman Panthers. Welcome into the booth, everybody. Pleasure to have you guys here with us. I'm Justin Lee, alongside here with Angelique Ramirez, of course. No sideline reporter today due to technical difficulties, but the show goes on. Of course, how are we doing today, Angelique?
I'm pumped for this game. How about you, Justin?
Absolutely pumped. We're here. This is a treat for us, of course, getting to see both of these teams. Chapman being the number 10 team in the nation, of course, and the Cal Poly Mustangs being the number 22 team in this nation. But before we can head over and talk about these teams, of course, we got to take a look at some of these division standings. As you can see for the Southwestern Conference, of course, the Panthers sit at the second to last position in those standings right now. But it's because they haven't played any divisional opponents yet. As you see, Arizona and San Diego State sit at the very top right now. But the Panthers have a very good record as it is at the moment. They just haven't played any divisional opponents. Some teams to look out for, of course, is San Diego State, who are undefeated. So as we get later down in the schedule for this season, you might want to keep an eye out for them. But is there anything that stands out to you from when you look at these standings, Angelique?
I definitely think the standings are a bit deceiving. You know, the Chapman Panthers are lower down on the list, but they've been just doing so well this season. I don't think it tells the full story of just how high-powered this offense has been in actuality.
Absolutely, for sure. And now let's talk about some of these teams here in this moment for this big game down in the trenches. Of course, we're talking about the Cal Poly Mustangs and the Chapman Panthers. As we take a look at some of those comparisons between these two teams, of course, as you see, the Panthers and the Mustangs this week both won their games respectively as they took on South Carolina and winning both times. The Cal Poly Mustangs winning by 10-9 against the South Carolina Gamecocks, and the Panthers winning by 10-7. Both of these teams have very similar records, of course, and that score against South Carolina very close indeed. That could be a microcosm of what this game should look like today. Anything that stands out to you from this?
Definitely. I think the fact that they both went 10-10, against South Carolina says a lot about their offense. And it's going to be a game of defense, I think. When you have two high-powered offenses, the defense really needs to come around and show out today. And, that's all you can hope for. With any team, is that both your offense and your defense just line up in sync together.
Absolutely. As we take a look, the Panthers are actually a self-funded program, of course, this being a club sport for the university. They are not affiliated with it, of course, but if you want to support the Panthers, of course, they are in the middle of a fundraiser to help pay for some of those flight tickets for their away games. Of course, if you match up $75,000, the Panthers will also do so as well. So scan the QR code, pull out your phones, check that out if you wanted more information on how to do so and to support the Panthers, of course. Now, let's take it over to some of the players in this game. Of course, we got to talk about, let's talk about last week, actually, as we're talking about George McGurk from a week ago against Clemson. Had a huge game for him, but of course these Panthers as well. What can you tell us about George McGurk's performance?
Oh, definitely. Shooting 7 out of the 14 goals for Chapman. That's 50% of the goals that they had in the whole game versus Clemson. And not only are we going to look at George McGurk, also the people assisting him, like number 14, Liam Nelson. You can only do so much as an attackman. You have to have good key pieces around you as well to just get you the ball, to feed you, and so you can sit back and make those plays in all due time, And so George McGurk just takes care of everything when it's given to him. If he's given the pieces, he will succeed.
Absolutely. You see a lot of this team energy out here, of course. Now let's take it over to some of the team's key players, of course. We'll talk about the Cal Poly Mustangs coming in here from the north, taking on this big team of Panthers. You want to talk about some of those players for this, of course?
Yeah, most definitely. My first key player is going to be an attackman, Ryan Sanders, number 25. 20 goals, 10 ground balls, and then 3.3 goals per game. He's only a freshman as well, but he's started all 6 of their games, and that just shows how much trust this coach has in this young player and how much he's going to develop further down the line. You do not give a freshman a shot like this unless you absolutely believe in the talent and that he's going to produce on the field. This whole team is just about how hardworking every single piece is, and he's going to be one of the main pieces in this offense today. And so he's really someone you gotta look out for. As well, you know, gotta show love for the middies. I've got Jack Kramer, who's also a captain of the team. He's a senior, and he's going to be someone to look out for, you know, as one of the level-headed seniors with experience. He's going to have to be a driving force behind this team as they make it down both sides of the field. With younger players, you have to have someone to be the backbone, the stability behind the team. And so Jack Kramer is going to do this. He has 11 goals, 5 ground balls, and 1.8 goals per game. But don't let, you know, the goals per game fool you. He's going to be out there making himself known throughout the entire thing. And finally, you know, can't have a defense without a goalie. Lucas Chu, number 30, 67 saves, 52 save percent, and 11.17 saves per game. You know, those are great numbers for your goalie, and with such high-powered offenses, you're going to look towards your goalies to make moves, make decisions, not make mental errors, and just keep this game alive for both of these teams as it comes down to the wire. So any little mistakes these goalies make today could reflect badly on them and their team.
Absolutely. Now, let's take a look at some of the Panthers' key players here. Of course, I like to organize them into 3 different pillars of success. One of those is offense. You need a great, strong offense, and what this Panthers team has. Of course, we talked about him, George McGurk, one of those big impact players for this game. Graduate student here at Chapman University. Such a fantastic player. He's had a phenomenal season, as he's had his entire career here at Chapman. 22 goals on the season, 12 assists, and 20 ground balls collected. We here like to call him Chef George McGurk because the Panthers, their favorite movie being Ratatouille, but he brings a lot of energy to this team, and being able to talk to him last week, he's calm, cool, and collected, and he enormously loves the guys next to him, and it shows down on the field, of course. And let's take it over to our second pillar. You need a great start, and the man for the job, of course, is William Curtis, their face-off specialist, a fantastic player. He also has a lot of energy on this team, loves to dance around on that field. As you see his record, the face-off record being 48 and 33, he has a win percentage of 64% when it comes to those face-offs, and he collects 27 ground balls on the season thus far. A big piece to what this 3-pillar team is going to be, of course. And now, for the third pillar, of course, you need a fantastic defense, and that's not without Jason Bollinger, their goalie. Of course, one of the key players in the last pillar on this structure, of course. As you see, 12 saves per game. Such a fantastic player in the net, 72 saves, and a save percentage of 58.5%. Fantastic player. He's going to be lining up with another opponent. Of course, you said Lucas Chu, the goalie for the Mustangs. This is going to be a tough matchup because both of them don't miss a lot of balls, letting them go behind them. Of course, they're fantastic goalies, so they're going to protect that net at all costs. And that's why we're thinking that this game is going to be absolutely close through and through the entire day, because both these goalies have high percentages of saves. And of course, you see Lucas Chu has 11.1 saves per game and 12 saves per game for Jason Bollinger, of course. Now, as we look at those comparisons, let's talk about a few things. What are some of the strategies that are going to be coming out here?
I think everything starts at the face-off. You really need your face-off specialist to just come in, do the heavy lifting right there, and get the team the ball. Because when you start off well, you just succeed going forward. And if you're Cal Poly, you do not want to let the Chapman offense get started. You want them to sit back, not have the ball, not get into a rhythm, so you really are going to have to protect the ball at all costs. So defense, defense, defense for both of these teams, really. On the Chapman side, you also cannot let these young guns kind of just take it and run with it today. You know, these teams are all about, you know, grit, fighting it out. And, you know, the Mustangs really see themselves as underdogs. And when you have nothing to lose, that's when you play the hardest. So you just got to keep going and keep pushing for your team and just make this as hard on your opponent as possible. Keep on pushing.
Absolutely. Now, as we talk about this game of lacrosse for the Panthers, of course, for those viewers who are tuning in here today and do not have a great idea of what lacrosse is, we can talk about some of those rules, of course, some of the different things you might see out there. As you know, for possession time, if you throw the ball out and away from the goal, whoever on your team is closest to that ball, of course, that ball is in your possession.
Yes, and only in the cases of if it goes out but it wasn't shot to the goal, then it is the possession of the other team.
Absolutely. And let's talk about some of those other nuances you might see out there, like maybe some of the penalties. Of course, it's very similar to sports like hockey, of course, and basketball. There's a lot of different things that you can see, but we have a lot of different terminology, of course, for some of these things. And of course, as you take a look, in hockey, they have a power play, of course.
Yes.
When a man is inside the penalty box and he has to spend time in there because of a penalty, of course. And we're talking about that. They have man up and man down in this situation, so that's some of the terminology you'll kind of see coming in here in the game. And we'll explain that as we go throughout this entire time and checking that out.
Yeah, definitely. You do not want to get caught in a man-up situation if you're either of these teams. That is just going to, again, be mental mistakes, you know, and you can't allow that on either sides of the ball when you have teams that are just so heavy on offense. You need to make sure you're here, you're present, and you're ready to win at every step of the game, whether that be defense, offense, goalie. Everything needs to work in sync for both of these teams to reach the high potential that we think that they have.
Absolutely. I had a chance to talk to Coach Joel Callis a week ago. Very cool and calm, collected, just like his team, of course. He understands it's his first year as head coach, but he's had so much experience as the assistant coach, taking over for the previous head coach of Chapman. Of course, he's doing a fantastic job with his team. And of course, Cal Poly also has a lot of inexperience at coaching for the head coach spot. He's also in his second year, of course. So a lot of different factors could play into this game. And like you said, the blue collar of the Cal Poly Mustangs, the youth on that side, whereas Chapman has a lot of experience. What kind of factors can that play in?
Yeah, I would definitely say that the whole thing is going to come down to just who wants it more, because experience might not play a part in any of this.
Absolutely. Well, as we get things started to go here before tip-off, we're going to take it over to the field where we're going to have the national anthem playing out here on the field. We'll have you guys come back to us in a few.
Ladies and gentlemen, the time is 1 o'clock. It is game time.
As things are starting to get off here before tip-off, we're getting ready as well here up here in the booth. We're going to take a look at some of these lineups and take a preview of who's going to be out there for these Panthers and the Mustangs, of course. So let's take a look at some of that. And for the Mustangs, of course, they're starting off with a big player, Ryan Sanders, of course, in those lineups. As you can see, as we roll up the lineups here,
Yeah, also they're going to have Olive Skinner at attack, mid Shine Caldwell, Max Princeton, and Jack Kramer, as I talked about him earlier, you know, captain. On defense, Tanner Collins, long stick midi, Will Rackes, another defensive, Rylan Hickman, goal Lucas Chu, and mid Xander Murray Osborne, you know, big names to watch out for tonight.
well, you talk about the Mustangs, and let's talk about the Panthers coming here at their lineups now. And of course, George McGurk is in this lineup to start it off as well. Mr. Chef in the kitchen. He's getting ready to serve up some of those dishes with his sous chefs, Liam Nelson, and of course, the man himself, George McGurk. Attack, Luke Morissette with his big glasses. Defensive man, Dylan Hartnov, defensive end Nicholas Griffith. And then if you take a look at the other ones, the goalie, of course, our man of the hour, Jason Bollinger, and then our midfielder, William Curtis, Michael Morrison, Troy Kennedy, and Camden Morris. And as you see from those preview, we're about to get set and ready to go as the face-off is coming together. The Panthers and the Mustangs taking the field for those introductions. As you see, what do you think the Mustangs will do coming off of the board here? Do you think they're going to come out fast or come out slow, especially with this youth on this team?
I mean, you really have to watch out for Chapman. They're known for having speed right off the bat, so I think you really have to slow them down, whether that's speeding up your own offense or just making sure that you don't let them pick up steam. You need to be on every phase of the ball on it, because they will rush past you. They will use that athleticism to get past you, so you need to really get into it and make sure that you slow them down.
Of course, and we here actually took the liberty of giving them a questionnaire for the captain, so we'll kind of give you some insight of what those stories we collected for these players later on as the broadcast goes. But here is face-off, of course, getting ready. And we're off here at Chapman Stadium. As you see, the Mustangs have got the ball, surrounded by 3 guys around him. The Panthers fighting for possession. The ball is on the ground. Mustangs look like they have control of it. Here comes the midi down the middle, looking around, setting up the play.
Yeah, this really is what you want to do if you are the Mustangs. You want to keep it out of Chapman's hands as long as possible. And if that means, you know, just going for it, then you go for it, because you really need to just slow down Chapman and keep things on your side of the ball.
As you see the Mustangs rotating around, they got a player down in the X over there, looking for somebody open, hands it off to his wingman, number 28, Jack Kramer.
Someone to keep watch of as we continue this game.
For sure, one of our key players. He takes, looking like it almost took like a shot, but they're circling around. That one is wide, putting the sticks out. Who's got possession? It looks like the Mustangs have got the ball back. Remember, the furthest one, of course, out there to the ball is going to get possession.
Yeah, even though you want to go quick with your offense, you also don't want to make careless mistakes. You want to set up your shots and make sure you're ready for them, or else something like that is going to happen, and Jason Bollinger is going to take that time to set up and go against you.
Absolutely. That goal shot off of Jason Bollinger's arms, but Mustangs retain possession of that ball, circling around, looking for anybody open. Got plenty of time on the shot clock after that reset.
Yeah, definitely. I think they just need to move quicker, you know.
Oh, what a save from Jason Bollinger on that to be able to intercept that play, and the Panthers now have possession.
Yeah, I think, you know, Jason's just he's going to wreak havoc when they go and they shoot. So you got to make sure that you're prepared to go up against him when he's in the cage, because he's not going to give you anything easy. He's not going to give you anything free. You need to be able to put it right over his shoulder and just sink it in.
As you saw, the Mustangs received possession after Dante Kolobus got pushed out. Now Mustangs have possession. They're back in the X on the attack, of course, taking all the time in the world with this possession. Circling around Jason Bollinger, looking for some way to get through, draw first blood here in this game.
Yeah, this is something different. We usually see the Chapman Panthers come right off the bat and just sink it in first, you know, draw first. But the Mustangs are really giving them a run for their money right now and really coming out and showing that they're just as high-powered.
Definitely testing them at the goal as that one goes wide off the ground. Jason Bollinger doing a lot of work right now. The Mustangs retain possession of the ball once again, stepping through the X, circling around. You see the one-handed movement from the Mustangs. Maybe a shot imminent here. Coming through and shoots, scores for the Mustangs. They draw first blood against the Panthers. That's, like you said, an aggressive approach, of course, against the Panthers today. That's what they're going to need.
Yeah, unfortunately, if you're the Panthers, that's not what you want to happen right now. On their defense, they just gave these attackmen too much space to play with, and they took advantage of it and they sunk it straight into the goal. You know, you really have to be mindful of that, how much space you're going to give these attackmen on the wings, because they will take any opportunity to just score, and you really just have to play hard, play man-to-man at times, because they're not going to let up at any point.
Absolutely. On that last goal, Jack Kramer was one of our key players. He scores the first goal of the game as we get set and ready to go once again. Panthers playing a little bit like ping pong out there. Now they're back on offense. Lost possession of the ball. Knocked around, very close to the line. The ref calls out on Chapman. The Mustangs will take the possession of it.
As I said earlier, you don't want mental errors. You want to keep everything tight. And I think that just speaks to maybe a mental error of letting it get away from your grasp. You really have to like just tune in here and be as focused as possible because they are not giving any ground, these Mustangs.
Absolutely, the Mustangs coming in here very strong. They did have a week off where the Panthers just played on Thursday against South Carolina, so maybe a little bit of wear and tear on these Panthers.
Overall, you just have to play through it. Unfortunately, you know, last week Clemson, they had to play off of a game as well, so you just have to make sure you're playing on all sides of the ball to the best of your ability and not let it show that you had a game this week.
The Panthers are playing Clemson, who also had a back-to-back game, so maybe some of that wear and tear coming here. But they have a pretty deep lineup as it is, so I'm sure the substitutions will come into play, of course. The Panthers retaining possession now as they get the ball back to the offensive side, starting to spread it around now. And here comes the attack of the Panthers coming down the field.
Checking in, Elijah Ruckman.
Elijah Ruckman checking in for the Panthers.
No.
Losing control of the ball. That's number 26, Elijah Bruggerman, who just came in.
Again, things that are just really unforced, you know, not a lot of pressure up there. Yeah, he was covered by a man, but not enough pressure to give up the ball. You really need to just be on it 24/7 all the time if you're the Chapman Panthers right now.
Absolutely. The first shot on goal from the Panthers is just off the ground and wide of the goal. Making a no-look pass. Who's got it? There's a scrum at the middle of the field. Chu's picked it up and gives it back to his teammates.
Yeah, that was just not a clean.
Well, looks like we got a push on the call. Panthers get the ball back.
That was just not a clean shot there, you know. You can try and go for goals like that, but they're not always going to turn up your way, and that's what we just saw there. It just didn't come up for Chapman the way that they had hoped.
Absolutely, looking for some focus here in the early goings of the game so far. The Panthers now taking possession. They need all the time they can get. Driving down the field, still spreading it around. The shot wide.
Oh, that was a touch.
Looking for some kind of thing to go in their favor for the Panthers, but they don't get it. But they do have possession of the ball back. George McGurk dancing around behind the net, hands it off to Luke Morissette. Shot on goal! In there for the score. The Panthers even it up early in the first quarter.
Again, this is the game we were talking about, coming in and just being as high-powered. You know, both Chapman and Cal Poly both just coming in and taking shots. And this one just happens to go the Panthers' way. Overall, you know, we could criticize every single day, but that pass was just, that shot was just beautiful. Being able to use your shoulder, kind of just turn off the hip and just sink it into the goal.
That was Luke Morissette on that goal. Absolutely amazing snipe shot from him, the computer science major here at Chapman University. A face-off violation. The Panthers will get the ball back to start off this next part of the possession.
Checking in 6, Charlie Beasley.
Number 6, Charles Beasley will check in, the midi freshman. The ball's on the ground again.
21, Will Curtis.
Still out there. George McGurk picks it up. Now they're trying to set up for another quick response.
Checking in 8, Ben Newstrand.
Anybody looking around? Number 8, Ben Newstrand, just checked in, the junior.
If you're the Mustangs, you do not want to give them any space. You want to keep it tight as possible, so things like that will happen where you can just scoop up the ball and keep going with it. You just have to fight, and right now it looks like the Mustangs just want to fight a little bit more than the Panthers do.
Absolutely, you say that right now, and the Panthers and Mustangs are making a brawl out there for that ball. That thing traveled far, maybe about 30 yards across the field is how that went. And now the Mustangs have the ball. Now they're checking around. Number 4 and 28 just checked in for the Mustangs. Jack Kramer, one of those key players, of course. setting it up. 54 seconds on the shot clock. Plenty of time to set up some type of play strategy going in here. Going through towards the crease. Just above the head, and another score for the Mustangs. Quick response from the first goal of the Panthers, and now the Mustangs lead 2-1.
If you're the Mustangs, you're very happy with this right now. Being able to show your grit out there, just battling through the crowd of Chapman Panthers out there to just, you know, line that one in and sink it. That's just amazing.
Absolutely, Max Princeton on that goal, and now the Mustangs take the lead. And we talked about it earlier. This game is going to be close, and so far it's been looking like that out here.
Really a back and forth battle as both teams come up with possessions or lose possessions. And you can't hope for more out of a game of lacrosse than you can right now.
The Panthers were looking for some kind of penalty there, but they didn't get the call. And now they have the possession of the ball, running down with the long stick.
Let's go, Cam.
He's taking it himself into his own hands, Camden Morris. Now he just backs off, throwing it over to Dante De Colibas. Now checking in, number 22, Jack Worth, the midi sophomore. Eliza Bruggerman now has possession. Now he's moving around, sends it back. Looked like maybe an attempt, but faked it out. A dodge. A shot through Chu's legs and into the goal.
If you're the Mustangs, you're not happy about that. There was just so much open space there. No defender really challenging him. Just enough space to go ahead, line it up, and put it in. Defense just needs to be tighter overall, but for Chapman, you're really happy that you have your guys being playmakers out there and getting the shots that you want.
Absolutely, it's such an evenly matched game already, and that was Dante Colibas. You see on this replay here, as they're moving the ball around, you see cutting inside towards the crease and making that beautiful snipe of a shot. The ball is on the ground, trying to find somebody with possession, and now the Mustangs pick it up. Clock starting to run. Oh, swipe from behind.
It's a bit of a yard sale out there. People dropping sticks.
I didn't see a price tag on the floor at any moment. But now the Mustangs have the ball. Checking it back. Now it's starting to circle around. He's reserving that for his players to make some subs. Now checking in for the Mustangs, number 28, Jack Kramer's back in there. One of those dangerous key players, of course. Jack Kramer stepping back. Shot clock coming down to 40 seconds as he starts driving towards the goal. Passes it over, very close. For Kai Iwazaki, spreading it around again. Settling. Coming through, back in the X. Still moving. Jack Kramer.
The defense stealing hard off.
Switching it around. Clock is starting to run. 10 seconds on there. Maybe something quick to come through. Pushing in towards the middle. Shot wide.
Yeah, it looks like the Mustangs were kind of hoping to catch Chapman off guard on their defense, try and, you know, come back a little bit so that they can go in high-powered, and it just didn't turn out the way that they hoped that it would.
It's a tightly knit defense for both of these sides, and they've started showing that here so far, but both of these teams are just high-powered offenses. So a good balance here today at Chapman Panther Stadium as the Panthers take the ball back, flipping it around. Now heading down the field is Ben Newstroughton. Towards the sideline, checking in. That's Grant Cavan.
Grant Cavan checking in.
Back over to Durante. And he's driving towards the goal. And, oh, off the top of the post.
That's a ping right there.
Luke Morissette, full reshot.
As you said, the terminology for lacrosse, the ping off the top of the goal after that shot. And loses possession of the ball. The Mustangs pick it up, and he's running down the field.
Again, this is something
Oh,
you
and
don't
he lost
want.
it again. Flipping it back and forth. Now the Mustangs have it.
really is a back and forth here.
Playing hot potato. Back over to Chu as they reset the Mustangs. Panthers trying to put some kind of pressure on any of these Mustang players at the moment. Number 28, Jack Kramer. Back in the X. Xander Murray Osborne. Very awesome name. And a shot on goal, missed it. Great save by Bollinger. And now the Panthers are switching it over fast, taking it down the field. Into the goal. A score for the Panthers, and now they're up by 1 score here in this game.
Yeah, he just came up, he used athleticism, and he just got down the field quicker than a couple of the defenders. There you see him, he just lines it up and is able to shoot off really quickly. I think that's a big strength for the Chapman offense, is that they're able to just take these shots on the run like that and have them just sink exactly where they want them to go.
Absolutely. Chu doing the splits on that goal from number 6, Charles Beasley, the midi. Now we're in face-off mode. The Panthers almost had possession. Still up for grabs. Still up for grabs. Looking for possession. Swiped up by the Mustangs. Flipping it over. Oh, what a great job from number 17, Max Kobach. And now that ball is still out again. Still loose. Still loose.
I mean, this is the type of stuff we thought we were going to see today. Both teams really battling hard out there. And again, as I said earlier, face-off is really going to matter because both teams really want this.
Seems like the face-offs haven't been just a one single thing. It's been a stalemate at that mark every single time. As we take a timeout here for both teams, and we'll reset here. We've seen so far it's been absolutely intense down on the field. We've been talking about this in the pregame, talking about like this battle here in the trenches for both of these teams. It's been an interesting game thus far. We haven't seen a lot of the key players making shots out here. It's been a lot of those support players you see for the Panthers and the Mustangs.
Yeah, if you are both the Mustangs and the Panthers, you're happy to see other players kind of taking their chance and moving it down the field as much as possible, but you are also hoping that your key players come in and just settle the score overall.
Absolutely. Now let's talk about some of these shots that we see down here for some of those viewers watching at home. Let's break down some of those types of things. We've seen a lot of far shots, like sniping shots out here, high shots, low shots. Is there any type of strategy to try to get around the goalie at any point?
Yeah, you would do what's called a dodge. There's a couple different types of dodges out there. Just overall, finding a way to get around, your person, whether, that's an attack getting around a defender, or a defender just trying to get it to the other side of the field away from maybe the middies who are just on their backs the entire time as they try and get it back out.
Absolutely, and we can probably demonstrate some of that later on in this broadcast, of course, and we'll get to that in a moment as the teams take the field once again after the timeout. About 2 minutes left in this first quarter of play for both of these teams. Maybe getting some rest, but the energy out here, intense.
Mustangs on attack here, possession.
Mustangs have possession of the ball. They'll start off with it.
2:01 to go.
That's Max Brinton, who scored one of the goals for the Mustangs thus far in this game. As we set off again. Back towards the X. There goes the Mustangs. Driving. A dodge. Flips it, no look. Maybe a mistake there as he lost possession of the ball, and the Panthers pick it up. Back towards the X, over to Bollinger. And now the Panthers will be on attack. Resetting, putting some subs in there. 22 Jack Worth holding the ball.
As I said earlier, you really don't want to make any mistakes. And I think we're not seeing many mistakes from both teams, but the ones that we are seeing are maybe.
And a score!
Backside, number 7,
Rolled the crease. That's number 7, George McGurk, with his first goal on the day as the Panthers extend their lead to 2 against the Mustangs here in this first quarter. And there he is, the man himself, Chef George McGurk, cooking it up in the kitchen.
Yeah, George McGurk really likes to take his shots coming out from the X, from the GLE, just coming in towards the side of the crease and just banking it in. And again, we kind of see stuff like that again today. We saw it, against Clemson last Saturday. And that's just kind of the play style that he has. He's really good at making those shots.
Such an aggressive individual as he is, and he's got a lot to show for. He took a shot on that goal that we saw earlier on the replay. Looks like he's okay for now. Panthers took possession of the ball after the Mustangs had it for a moment and got swatted away. Now they're resetting.
Checking in 33, Joshua Munn.
A long shot across the field. They're just trying to get out of their part of the field, and now driving down the field. Dante's passing it off in the X over to Jack McGurk. Another shot missed wide. This will be in favor of the Panthers, as Dante De Calipis was in there.
Stop the clock!
As we talked about earlier, we got to ask some questions of the captains of both teams. And Liam Nelson, who's a captain for Chapman, he was talking about one of the team's biggest strengths, and that being their athleticism and determination in the game, and that they never give up. And that's what we're seeing here. They may not start as well as we had thought that they were going to, but they are not giving up today.
Absolutely. Plenty of shots off from the Panthers here as we end the first quarter of play. The Panthers off to a fantastic start in this game against the Mustangs.
Yeah. Overall, you can't ask for a lot more from Chapman. The Mustangs just kind of have to tighten up on defense and not let these shots get away from them. You got to stick with your man, not let your zone get empty, and just let things play out the way that they're going to play out, Going to work kind of hard against this Chapman offense. But they're gonna make you work, but it's going to be worth it.
Absolutely. Well, we're going to take you guys, while we take the break from this quarter, of course, we're going to talk about some of these sticks that you see out here. What I have here is an attack player stick. Now, there's a couple of different types you'll see out there, of course, for the middies, the defensive men, and, of course, the attackers here. And what I have here myself, as you can see, this is what they'll use. It's a much shorter stick than what a lot of the players use out there, but that's for advantages, of course. I know you have a little history lesson that you like to tell about this.
Yes, so the game of lacrosse was actually a Native American game. So a lot of their original sticks were made completely of wood. Even the head, as we have here, the newer sticks, it is actually able to come off of the rest of the stick, but the wood went from the stick all the way up to the head, and they burned in holes so that they could put in their netting, and they used to use things like leather in their netting as well.
Absolutely, yeah, and you see the action here is here. Well, you mistaken me earlier, actually, and most of the attackmen usually hold it right here in front of them like this or so. But pretty interesting to take a look at, and you'll see a lot of these out there. So, and there's a lot of specialized positions out there, like a long stick midi, of course.
Yeah, so for your midfielders, you can either have a long stick or a short stick, depending on how things go. I know in this game we have some long stick middies out there, so that's something to keep in mind as you're watching those midfielders, what type of stick they have, because that's always exciting to see, different players use their sticks to their advantage and just find sort of ways to work around another stick.
As we get ready for the second quarter, of course, if you're not knowledgeable in the game of lacrosse, every quarter, both sides switch sides. So the Panthers are now on the left side of your screen of the field, and the Mustangs have taken the right side now. As we get ready for face-off here in quarter number 2, we're expecting another rough and tough situation here.
Yeah, overall, it's just been a battle out there on the X, and I don't anticipate that being any different as time continues.
Absolutely. The Panthers winning possession on this one. Now they're resetting letting their players allow to get some rest and getting set up. Here they come. Elijah Bruggerman checking in. Does not have the ball, I'm mistaken. Number 4, Dante De Colibas has it. Now it's back over. Driving through. Steps back. Just looking for some kind of opportunity. The Mustangs are bunched up really close to the goal. Maybe a chance to take advantage of it. Another shot, and it banks off and goes in.
Very impressive there. It looks like it bounced off a Mustang stick and then went into the goal. That's very exciting right there. That's just showing that the Mustangs are not doing defensively what they need to do. Maybe bunching up wasn't the approach they needed because it didn't serve them well in this case.
That was Ben Neustrine who shot that goal for the score, and the Panthers are up by 3 now as we reset for another face-off. And looks like fighting for it still. Looks picked up by William Curtis. Oh, he missed the mark. There's a Mustang there. Look out. Now the Panthers have regained control of this. Now they're going to reset. Charles Beasley letting his Panthers pop in. He's popping out, of course. Driving down the field. Makes a stop. Hands it back over to Ben Neustraughton. Grant Cavan. Back in the X. Very close to the goal is George McGurk, I'm mistaken. Driving. Back towards the X to McGurk. Oh, he lost control of the ball. And now he's got it picked up again. A no-look flip attempt. Still on the ground. One man knocked down. And possession's given to the Mustangs as they try to go quick down the field. He's got no control of it. It's on the ground. It's still on the ground. Now the Panthers have got it.
Great job, Cam!
What a great job from the Panthers to regain control of that ball.
Again, it's just going to be mistakes out there, you know? Letting the ball just get a little bit too far ahead of you. And that's going to be kind of a difference maker because you're letting the other team have essentially free play on something you could have had.
Oh, a near shot. It bounced off a Mustang. Now the ball is on the ground. Panthers, Mustangs all bunched up in the scrum. It's still out there, and the Panthers pick it up. Oh, swatted away from a Mustang. Now they're driving down, looking for a shot. What a stop by Bollinger. A misbounced shot from the Mustangs.
Behind you!
Oh, looking out from behind. Nearly got taken away. Now the Panthers are reset and getting set up for this attack. Now keep in mind that it did rain yesterday, so that field might be a little bit slick. So we do expect a lot of ground balls to be out there, of course. Here comes Jack McGurk. A fake. Somebody lost it. Where is it? It's on the ground. And no goal for the Panthers as Chu picks it up. And now the Mustangs are resetting.
We're going to have to take a look at, Cal Poly's defense right here, going man-to-man. Maybe that's not working the way that they were hoping that it would. They were able to stop it there, but you don't want to keep looking over your shoulder for, a player like George McGurk.
Absolutely. It seems like the Mustangs are reading these Panthers pretty well, trying to swat at all of their attempts to try to get close to this goal. Reset, another substitution for both sides. Oh, the ball is loose. Mustangs pick it back up again. And now they're getting for their own attack. Xander Murray Osborne, the midi, taking a step, driving towards the goal, towards the X to his partner. Now over to number 4, Max Princeton. A lot of pressure. Now he just takes a step back. Now he's driving towards the goal. Near shot, bounces off of Panther. And the midi picks it up, the long stick midi over there, number 9, Cam.
Yeah, going through a little bit of isolation right there. Didn't seem to kind of work the way it had intended it to. But, you know, got to pull out all the tricks when you're up against a team like Chapman. Just got to get in there, use every play in the book, everything you got, because they're going to make you reach for everything.
Maybe pull up some trick plays or open up the playbook here, of course, for the Panthers or the Mustangs. The Mustangs playing against a pretty tough opponent so far. Oh, what a move! Oh, bounced off the ground. Bounce shot wide in favor of the Panthers. They get possession back. McGurk has got the ball now, stepping into the X. What a fake out.
Again, if you're the Mustangs, you're giving Chapman a little too much berth with your defense.
Oh, what a shot! Looked like Chu lost sight of that ball, and it goes in, and the Panthers are now up by 4.
Yeah, again, as I was saying, you know, you're just giving the Panthers a little bit too much of a wide berth here, and they're taking advantage of it. You can't let them beat you at every phase of the ball, whether that be the face-off, the defense, or the attack. You know, got to work a little bit harder, and Chu just kind of got to keep his eyes up a little bit more, make sure that he's aware of the space, you know, the space of the ball and where players are in relation to the goal.
Definitely hard to keep an eye on some of these balls because the Panthers are driving so hard on him. That was Luke Morissette, second goal on the day for the Panthers. Here comes William Curtis. He's going the wrong direction, but he sends it over to his goalie, Bollinger. And now here comes number 9, Camden Morris. Long stick midi for the Panthers as he's driving. Kind of lost in space. Oh, look at the spin move on him. Hands it over. A lot of open space. Oh, swatted away by a Mustang. Failed side shot from the Panthers. In favor of the Panthers after that near shot miss. They'll take possession of it.
Again, the Mustangs defense, there was a bit of breathing room for him there to just go down and kind of make a shot. Unfortunately, he didn't make it into the goal, but got to learn from that, got to readjust and look at the game plan. Coach is probably going to have to talk to his guys on the sideline about letting so much space go for free on there.
Well, unfortunately, we don't have a sideline reporter for this game, so we'll just have to kind of guess and see what the coach's adjustments will be, but that'll be one to see, of course. The Mustangs retaking possession here as Chu sent, off the net! Being pushed away. Now the ball is on the ground still, and the Panthers pick it up. They've got possession.
Way to go, Josh!
Hustling, driving down the field, a breakaway. That was number 33, Josh Vomond. Looks like we got a timeout called here. And now play is starting to reset as we get set, ready to go again. The Mustangs have the ball now. My mistake, that was not a timeout on that. That was change of possession for the Mustangs. Now they're resetting. Coming down the field again. Checking in for the Mustangs. Number 34, Liam Bethke. Spencer Zink has got it. Now he's driving down the field, tossing it over to the X. Oh, off the net. Lost sight of the ball. It's on the ground again. It's still on the ground. We've seen this so many times today, and it's picked up by the Panthers as he's driving down the field. Got a lot of open space. An attempt and blocked by Chu. They had all the momentum in their favor, but Chu squandered that at a chance. And the Panthers looking for possession again as it's on the ground. Another ground ball swept up. The Panthers got it. Great stuff from the Panthers thus far.
If you're the Chapman Panthers, you're very happy with your defense right now. You know, you're not letting Cal Poly get ahead of you. You're not letting them gain any traction in this. And your defense is just showing out right now when you need them to.
Well, you see the change in possession in terms of time overall. The Mustangs held it for a long time, but now the Panthers looking like they have the advantage, all of it. They got a lot of confidence. You can see the difference in experience. As a shot on goal is missed, wide. That was Luke Morissette on that attempt. The Panthers regain control. McGurk going fast right away. Oh, great eyes by Chu to stop that shot from George McGurk. Such a dangerous player on the field. But again, Chu being a great goalie as he is. Now the Mustangs are driving down the field once again.
That's exactly what you need if you're the Mustangs. You need Chu to keep players like George McGurk in control. You know, you need to keep them tampered down. You can't let them get these shots off. And that's exactly what he did just there.
Mustangs resetting the play here as they start bunching up. Panthers looking like they're playing a lot of man coverage. They're stacked up on each other. Now they're bunching up towards the goal as the Mustangs start driving down the field. Back over to the X. Still moving around. Net in his hand. Back over in the X again. That's Ryan Sanders, one of those key players. Another drive near the goal, missed. And picked up by Bollinger, who's stuck in the X, but hands it over to his long stick midi. And now the Panthers are driving down the field. Here comes Connor Rule. My apologies, Jackson Stevens. Oh, what a move. And a shot. Missed.
Breaking ankles out there, huh?
I see a couple of them out there on this field. I've seen a few of them thus far. Someone might want to clean that up later. Here comes the Panthers with the possession of the ball. Ben Newstrand running towards the X. Hands it over to McGurk. An attempt and a goal! What a snipe by the Panthers as they keep running up the score against the Mustangs. It's early in this game.
Yeah, the Mustangs just keep letting themselves get stuck, grouped together near the goal, and that's allowing George McGurk to get into his money spot and just sink shots off. That's not what you want to do. You want to be covering him because you're giving him way too much space to set up. He doesn't even look phased out there. You need to phase him. You need to make him move, make him sweat. You can't let him have so much open space.
Absolutely, and seeming like he's playing a more support role today as he's handing it off to a lot of his Chapman players, and they're making a lot of shots. It's been a pretty good spread across the board for most of these Panthers as they start immediately driving down the field again off the foot of Chu. Towards the back. Nice attempt looking for the full reset. Jack McGurk has got it. Making a step, making a move. Backs off towards the X as he lets the Panthers reset. Elijah Bruckerman has got the ball. Looks like there was an attempt to set up a pick there. Now it's back in the X over to McGurk. He's driving towards the goal, in through the shot, and the Panthers continue their reign of terror against the Mustangs.
McGurk is just having his way with these defenders right now. He's finding spaces to just kind of go in, shoulder it maybe, and just get shots off. And that's all you can ask for. Two different defenders right there, and he just finds a way to get right in the gap between them and get that shot off. If you are the Mustangs, you're not exactly happy with your defense right now. You know, you expect a little bit more. You need to control George McGurk. Even though he's been taking more of a supportive role, you still need to be on him 24/7. And if they're not doing that, he's going to get shots off, and that's exactly what we're seeing happening right now.
Well, as you see, Chu on that last replay was absolutely frustrated. You can tell a lot of it coming from this Panthers team. It's hard to defend any of that, and especially old man McGee out there playing so fantastic out there, taking himself out there and doing a great job. The Panthers already running up the score. Aside from what we've seen so far, we thought this was going to be a close one. It's been a huge difference.
Very much so. You know, you see Lucas Chu out there trying his best to kind of remain that stone wall, but it's very hard when your defense is not backing you up the way that you want them to. So of course he's gonna get a bit frustrated out there because these balls are, you know, going in, and the defense is just not doing what it needs to be doing right now. Unlike the Chapman's defense has been very great. they've been able to stop people from just going straight off and getting throws off.
As we set play back here again in the second quarter of this game, if you're just joining us, the Panthers are up by 8-2 right now in this game against the Cal Poly Mustangs. As, multiple nets on the ground. Oh, it's a broken stick, and the Panthers are fighting for the ball. He's got it in his stick. Dancing around.
Would you call that a discounted yard sale?
I mean, I wouldn't take a broken stick at any yard sale, of course, but if you're going to give me a discount, I'll take it at any time. There's a lot of debris on the field as the Panthers drive down the field. A spin move. Resetting the play here. As they're stepping in. Number 22, Jack Worth, is out there, including number 42, Luke Morissette, who's had 2 goals in this game so far. A dodge, a shot, wide of the mark. I mean, if you're Ethan Chu, you got to be absolutely tired right now in the situation. You've had so many shots on goal in a row.
Yeah, unfortunately for him, he's not getting the help that I think he would like out there. And it's just allowing guys to just make plays that maybe they shouldn't have been able to make, you know, and the longer that the Panthers stay on offense, you know, stay on that side of the field, the more tired the defense is going to be, the more tired Lucas Chu is going to be, and maybe more mistakes he'll make, which means more open goals. So if you are the Mustangs, you want to get back to, you know, Chapman's goal, and you want to start taking shots over there.
Looks like we have a penalty down on the field. It looks like a hold on the Mustangs. We got a man-up situation here for the Panthers.
Unfortunately, on number 15, Connor Rule.
He'll have to wait out there in the penalty box, as the Panthers have a really good opportunity here to get some goals and run up this score, make a breakaway for the Panthers, circling the round like vultures.
Again, for a Mustang defense that, you know, already is maybe a bit tired out there, have been letting shots go
and a
off.
shot through for a score for the Panthers. Luke Morissette, his 3rd goal on the day.
It's like the Panthers know exactly when I'm talking about how great they're doing, you know, and they just get shots off. Couldn't be any more happy if you're a Chapman Panther fan right now. Again, I was saying defense in a man-up situation like that, with a defense that's already kind of floundering, you're just, too much is going on for that defense. You need to re-strategize and get back in there and be revitalized.
Absolutely. The Panthers have just been on the attack the entire game, it seems like, and really tiring out. The Mustangs attackers can only do is just watch thus far, but they need a change of momentum here, of course. We're looking for something to change for those Mustangs out there. Panthers again. Now we're getting aggressive as the Panther fell down. Oh, he lost possession of the ball. It's still out. It's still loose. Looking for a push call. Yes, they get it, and it's over in the Panthers' favor.
I think coach is also looking for a cross-check earlier on that side. Didn't seem to get it, but got this call. So things look like they're going their way, the Panthers' way this time around.
Absolutely. And they took full advantage of that man-up situation earlier. And now the Panthers continuing with their possession as they circle around the net once again, driving back towards the X. McGurk got the ball. Wide shot missed. That one's rolling out. He's got control of it. That's number 8 over there, Ben Stratton. Now they're driving back towards the net. Here comes Luke Morissette. Been such a fantastic player today. Really showing out his performance as the Panthers continue. Morissette, once again, another broken net for the Mustangs. A shot on goal, and it's wide.
Very unfortunate. A lot of broken sticks here on Slow's side. That's not what you want, because it takes you out of the game for a little bit. You want to be up in there, especially with Chapman just doing so well on offense. So
you said it yourself, there's a big yard sale out there and maybe a couple of discounted things for sale. McGurk, shot on goal. Another one for the Panthers, keeping the lead for the Panthers now at 8.
The Mustangs really just need to go back during halftime and talk to their defense because they're letting a lot slide today. You know, whether it be McGurk or other, people from this ensemble, they're just having their way with this defense. And I'd be frustrated if I was goalkeeper Lucas Chu right now because he is trying his darndest out there and he's just not getting support the way that he needs to.
I'm talking about one of the better goalies in this MCLA league as the faceoff continues, and getting away with it is the Mustangs, who've got it. Maybe this is their chance to start running up some goals. Driving through, wide shot, and it's given to Chapman. No one was at the X, so the Panthers will get it. As they reset, now there's driving down the field. So much energy from this Panthers team as Jack Worth pushed towards the X. McGurk.
If you are the Mustangs offense, you can't go that fast. You need to slow things down just a tad bit so you can get your shots off in a reasonable way. And so you're not having sloppy mistakes like that. There was room. He could have gotten to it, but he was a little bit wide on that. You need to make this game yours. Right now, they're playing the Panthers game. They need to play the Mustangs game.
Mustangs have looking tired out there for the defense. You think they would hold on to the ball in that offensive possession, of course. Another shot, and it gets through Chu once again. A shot on goal. That one is Jack Worth with the credit as the Panthers continue to ride this wave of momentum.
Yeah, Worth just over in that wing, kind of on an island, just finding his spot, being able to plant himself and just lob it in. And unfortunately, Chu's a bit tired out there, can't catch everything. And this time he couldn't keep his eye on the ball.
Tough day for Chu out there, of course. This is definitely not what he probably expected from his defense, but the Mustangs really have to do a better job on these faceoffs. And as this one comes through, here we go once again. And it's picked up by the Mustangs. Another goal. Oh, missed wide again. And another missed opportunity for the Mustangs to get something going on offense. It's been everywhere. All out of control for the Mustangs thus far.
If you're the Mustangs, you really need to slow down and regain control. You need to slow down this Chapman Panthers offense and find your own rhythm. You're really going at their rhythm, and that's just not going to work overall during this game. You need to work harder and make smarter decisions. You can't have unforced errors like they are having today.
Absolutely. As we come to halftime here in this game, the score being 11 for the Chapman and not in favor of the Mustangs, who are at 2 right now. As we get to halftime, let's take a look. We're going to take a look at some of the replays here in a few moments, of course, but let's talk about this half first. Energy-wise, it seemed like the Mustangs had it in their favor, and again, the Panthers had an issue with that against Clemson as well, but now they've taken all the momentum in their hands, and they have it in their favor.
Yeah, as you can see, as we've been seeing in this broadcast, starting off real fast for the Mustangs, but they've just lost to, the overwhelming Chapman offense and have let themselves get a little wound up. And their defense is suffering as a result of it. We were talking about Lucas Chu not having the day we thought he was going to have. And unfortunately, that's because he's not having those pieces around him on defense to kind of make those stops to get up in Chapman's face and just tire them out. They're having their way on the field with the defense, and that's just not going to fly in a game like this.
Well, let's give you a visual aid of what's happened so far if you're just tuning in, of course, in this halftime. As we look at some of these replays here, of course, you see the Mustangs early on and early were doing a great job on the offensive side. They were making their way with the Panthers. As you see that shot on goal, the Mustangs had a lot of energy going through the first quarter, but they just completely lost it. And you see here, another snipe from long shot. This is what it's been the theme of so far for these Panthers. Been doing such a great job driving down the force and choking out the Mustangs defense. And you see Ethan Chu doing the splits on that play. It's been all George McGurk, William Curtis, and all the support players for the Panthers as well. They've been doing such a great job.
Yeah, unfortunately, after those couple of goals, you just see the deterioration of the Mustangs' defense. They're just not playing up to par. Lucas Chu kind of sitting out there doing a little bit of the heavy lifting when it comes to keeping shots off. And you can only ask so much of your goalie. You know, things happen all the time, errors happen, but there's just too much left out on the line for this to be happening, you know. I was looking for a little bit more from this defense, and they're just not showing up today.
Absolutely. As you see, Jack Morissette has been doing such a fantastic job out here today, and George McGurk is seeming more like a support player in the strategy that the Panthers have changed up against these Mustangs, and so far it's really working out pretty well.
Yeah, and even when he is the main star, he's still being supported by other people. They're really working as a unit and just coming together to really form a whole rounded team, and that's exactly what you need right now. There's no weak points. They're just making it happen as a team.
Absolutely. Well, you saw last week from the Chapman's lacrosse team about these superlatives. Of course, we have the second part of that video for you guys here. What were you elected as a superlative in high school?
I was put up for best smile at one point, so that was nice.
We'll take it. Well, let's send it over and check out some of those superlatives recommended by the men's lacrosse team.
We'll see you after the break.
I know who I'm saying. Definitely AB.
I just would go AB because he's going to play a bunch of Ice Spice. Ice Spice, I don't know what it is. It's just like, and he plays a lot of explicit music.
AB.
Yeah, it
'Cause
matters what
AB
you don't want to hear that day.
Yeah.
AB.
Munch.
Yeah, he plays Munch.
All right, I swear I heard people saying me. They're disrespecting me down there because I know Duffy is playing some crazy stuff on Ox.
Which two teammates are the closest friends on the team?
It's pretty good. I'd say Tyler Hill and Nico.
That's a good one.
Yeah.
Dude, honestly, Tyler Hill and Nico.
Yeah, that's a good one.
I would say me and Nico are pretty close. Yeah. Just because we went to high school together and I've known him for like most of my life.
Maybe Leander and Gator.
Oh, that's a good one. Yeah, they're close.
Gator and Leander are pretty close.
These guys.
Right here. Let's go, baby.
Oh, yeah. Dylan Hartnov and Nick Griffith. Yeah, right here. There. You got the two.
Yeah. That's it. That's pretty good.
Can I ask, what is Gator's first and last name?
Jackson
It's Gator.
Steven.
it's a la
It's
Gator. A la Gator.
Right there. We pan the camera over here.
Yeah.
What's up, Munch?
Welcome back, everybody, down here to Chapman Stadium as we get set for the second half of some play here today. Well, I just heard an interesting stat heard over the PA. 29 shots on goal for the Panthers, only 10 from the Mustangs thus far.
Yeah, that's a bit lower than we were intending to see. We thought that this Mustang offense was going to be high-powered and give Chapman a run for their money. Unfortunately, that hasn't been what we're seeing today. It's been a tale of two defenses, you know. Chapman's defense has just put in the work when required, and the Mustangs have not done the same.
Well, hopefully we see a change of strategy here for the Mustangs as they're down by a lot in this one so far. The Panthers got possession of the ball after that face-off. They're running down, pushing towards the net. And again, the Panthers, oh, that ball got away. And possession handed over to the Mustangs after that miscued pass from Chu over to the Mustangs as they're getting set ready for this first attack. They're running down the field, getting ready. The Mustangs needing a push here in this third quarter.
You know, we talked a lot today about George McGurk, and he is actually a leadership and development major, which explains why he has such good leadership skills when he's out on the field. The graduate student, you know, he really puts in work with his team and is able to communicate, and I guess that goes to show that he got his money worth on his, you know, on his education.
Absolutely, and you see it down on the field. He's got so much energy of reeling these guys together, and they've come together and against a really great team of Mustangs, and they're doing a great job. Here comes the Mustangs driving, and a ricochet off the ground and into the goal past Bollinger. Maybe that's the thing that'll start off this comeback for the Mustangs.
You can only hope. You look at what happened in the first half, and you say, you know, SLO had a goal at first, and then they deteriorated. You don't want the same thing to happen again. You need to keep this momentum. You need to stay hard-working. And unfortunately, you know, for the Panthers, you don't want that to happen. You don't want something like this to happen. Just finding gaps and able to strong-arm your way into a pretty good goal.
Archer Eubanks on that last goal. The Panthers winning the face-off here as they reset, getting ready. The Mustangs, maybe that's something they need to change the momentum in this game. Of course, it's been pretty interesting aside from what we predicted thus far. Now the Panthers have the ball, maybe trying to return the favor.
Yeah, you know, predictions are never 100%. You try and predict things, and, you know, human strength could always be different. So we'll see how that shakes up here today.
Absolutely, as the Panthers coming down the field, changing it up, throwing it around to each of the support players. We've seen this so many times in this game. Another shot on goal. It just lost sight of it by Chu, but it's picked up by the Mustangs. And now the Mustangs have the ball back. Another opportunity in their hands to try to get another goal fast. As they're going quick here, pushing down the field.
Sorry, whatever coach said, you know, during halftime must have inspired their defense, because, you know, they're making changes, and it looks like two totally different defenses right now.
It seems like maybe a switch off in two strategies for both of these teams. As the Mustangs are now, well, hopefully the strategy will be to keep the ball longer on offense to give your defense a little bit of rest. And Mustangs coach probably talking to him at halftime. Back in the X, here comes the Mustangs. He's driving down the field. Coming through, that's number 4, Max Princeton. Setting it up, looking for something. A dodge, a pass over, near attempt. Good blocking from the Panthers, and that one rolls away. Closest man is a Panther out there. He picks it up, and the Panthers will have possession of the ball. That's Jason Bollinger, the goalie out there.
Just really great stick movement, you know, for the Chapman defense, being able to just stay on your man, not let him set up, turn, and just shoot off, being able to stick with him hip to hip, you know, stick to stick, and just sticking with him the whole time.
Absolutely, a lot of sticks in that sentence, of course.
Whole lot of sticks in that sentence.
We've seen a whole lot of sticks down on the field, of course, but when we're talking about sticks, we did demonstrate it before, talking about it. As a shot on goal is missed from the Panthers, they'll get possession back as George McGurk picks it up. But we talked about the sticks, and you see the stick movement, of course. The specialization of these positions, of course, you need longer sticks for middlemen, the middies out there, and then for the defense and the attackers need that short stick so they can get the ball off very fast and easy. As the Panthers are driving down the field again, another shot on goal in there. A quick response from the Panthers as they return the favor.
As a Mustang, you can't let this get to your head. It's going to be mind games for the second half because every single time that the Panthers do get a shot off, it's going to mess with your head. It's going to make you doubt yourself. You need to stay strong, and you just need to battle back as a team. Right now, you know, I just don't think they're playing up to par with what we need, what they need to as a team.
Absolutely. That, again, was Luke Morissette, his third goal on the day, of course, for the Panthers. He's had a breakout performance here into this afternoon's game. The ball is rolling around. Someone looking for possession of it. It's still on the ground. A big scrum of players. Still flipping up and around. Looks like hacky sack. It's still on the ground. Picked up by a Mustang. Running out to the sidelines. And the Mustangs will have possession. As again, maybe the strategy is to hold on to that ball a little longer to give your defense some time to rest. Here come the Mustangs flipping it around as they reset the play.
Checking in 17, Jackson Wells.
Max Princeton is out there again. Jackson Wells has just stepped in. Shot clock down to 47. Pushing it towards near the X, wide of his teammate. It's on the ground, blocking his net. It's still on the ground. Great defense of the Panthers. Oh, it's swatted away. Another reattempt. Back over to the goalie, Bollinger. And the Panthers look like they have it secured in their hands. Or their nets, I should say. And now they're driving down the field. A lot of open space for an attempt. And they'll just reset the play here. Getting ready. Trying to kill this clock as much as possible. Number 22, Jack Worth, with the ball in his hands.
If you're the Panthers, you have the time and you have the energy to kind of make them miss.
What a fake out by George McGurk as he makes a shot on goal. The third one of the day for him as well. As we bringing out hashtag skip pass out here on this field. What a great call out from the PA. That's the definition of what just happened.
Yeah, as we can see here, he just kind of goes, the goalie thinks he's going to go high. He goes low and just is able to get it in. Unfortunately, you know, momentum is just going back to the Panthers right now. And that's not what you want right now. Overall, the Mustangs just need to be tighter with their game. They're letting things go. And Chu, as the goalie, needs to just catch things.
There's been a lot of open space for the Panthers. And when you have a guy like George McGurk up in your face like that, doing a lot of face dodging, it's hard to defend that. And you saw Ethan Chu had no chance against George McGurk on that play.
You can't let George McGurk impose his will on your defense. You just can't let that happen. As a team, you need to keep him in check.
As the Panthers drive down, another attempt, and it's blocked by Chu. A save. And now the Mustangs have got possession of the ball. And now they're trying to find an opportunity to get this one down to the offensive side as they start driving down the field.
Been a bit of a quiet day for this offense, you know. You see over there, number 25, Ryan Sanders. We thought he was going to have a bit more of a day today, and we just haven't seen what we thought we were going to see.
Such a big difference. Mustangs had a week off, of course, and the Panthers coming in here since Thursday with only 2 days off. And you can see the huge difference between the two. The Mustangs, you think they would have a better strategy for this game, of course, but so far that has not been seen from these Mustangs. The Panthers imposing their will, as you said, of course, in this game, as the Mustangs back in the X, trying to look for any chance to shoot this one. Back over, send it over to number 44. Driving, Oh, blocked away. No stick check on that one as their Panthers are driving down the field quick, looking for a transition, and it gets by. In for the score. That's George McGurk once again, the 4th goal on the day.
George McGurk just, again, imposing his will, dominating on that side of the field. And if you're the Chapman Panthers right now, coming off a game on the 9th, this is great because none of your guys look tired. No one looks sluggish. Everyone is performing at high levels, and that's what you want to see. That's what you need as, you are coming into this game. Unfortunately, I can't say the same about the Mustangs. They just are not looking how we thought that they were going to look, considering they both win against the same competitor. You'd think they'd have a better game plan ahead of today, but just has not shaped up the way that you could have hoped it would. Still a very exciting game, though, even with, the goals in favor of Chapman.
Absolutely, and maybe with this lead right now, they probably put in some of their subs, get some other players some playing time, but of course, they're staking out there, trying to run up the score once again. A block by Chu, scooped up by the Mustangs, and now they're back on the transition. Oh, just out of the reach of the Mustang player, back in the hands of Chapman.
Is it inexperience? Is that what we're seeing here? Are these veterans just really taking over with their experience and putting it all out there?
Well, George McGurk had a great attempt on that shot, but it just fell out of his net as he was trying to shoot it into the goal. But like you said, yeah, the experience might be one of the biggest factors in this game, of course. And as we said earlier, the Mustangs have a big group of freshmen, of course. Their team has 17 freshmen in total compared to the Panthers, who have 12 freshmen, but a big chunk of that roster is 10 seniors and 1 grad student, who is, of course, Chef George McGurk, or Old Man G, as they like to call it here. Looks like a interesting transitioning thing going on with the Mustangs right now. It just seems like the Mustangs, as they drive down here on offense, the Panthers have been able to take advantage of the quick transition game and getting it down the field quick. As the Mustangs get through, blocked away by Bollinger, picked up by the Panthers. Great stuff by Bollinger, doing a fantastic job out there. He's been having a day out there at the cage.
Definitely. We thought goalies were going to make a difference today, and it definitely has. Bollinger has been able to stop a lot of stuff that's come his way when it has come his way, and that's kind of made the difference for this team. Along with just the defense putting in the work that they have been putting in.
For sure. As the ball is on the ground once again, fighting for it. A lot of aggressive play here. The Mustangs really want this one back, but the Panthers just trying to scoop it up, getting it away. Someone got tripped up in that bunch, and it's given over to the Panthers. Bollinger's got it. And now the Panthers are drive down the field. We talked about some of these questionnaire that we had for some of these players and trying to share some of their storylines out here, of course. And thank you to all the captains who were able to fill out that questionnaire. And we love to share some of your stories here on this broadcast as well. As the Panthers are driving down the field here, driving through. And an easy score from the Panthers. It looked like nobody wanted to take him on over there. That's Dante De Colivis for the Panthers. And again, driving it up again with the lead.
Yeah, unfortunately, the Mustang defense is, maybe they're a little tired out there. We see that Chu is coming out, and that, number 6, Josh Gotchik, is coming in at goalie, so maybe he just needs a little bit of rest. Maybe this revitalizes their defense, and they kind of kick things off as we have 4 minutes here remaining on the clock.
A change of face for both of these teams right now, as the Mustangs switch out their goalie to Josh Goschalk. Of course, you said earlier, biomedical engineering sophomore at Cal Poly. Cal Poly Slow being a big engineering school. As the Panthers have the ball on offense once again. Resetting the play. Trying to make sure they're on sides for both of these teams.
Checking in 32, Alexander Gardner.
Alexander Gardner checking in. The ball thrown over to him.
Freshman attackman.
Throws it over to McGurk.
You know, we talked a bit about the captain's questionnaire earlier. You know, Captain Jack Kramer, you know, Midi, said.
And a pick. An attempt missed. Picked up by the Mustangs.
You know, he said that he chose lacrosse because anyone can be creative on the field and still make an impact that's helpful to the team. And I think that resonates on both sides of the ball at all phases, you know, in both teams, just being creative and going out there and making impacts.
Absolutely. Hopefully, Mustangs trying to look for some type of impact to happen here for their side, of course. Jackson Stephen checks in.
17, Jackson Wells.
Jackson Wells also checks in as well. And the Mustangs are trying to get an opportunity to start getting some goals in this game. It's been a one-sided matchup so far today between the Panthers and the Mustangs. Mustangs are starting to drive down now. And a shot on goal, and another beautiful block by Bollinger. And the Panthers now have the ball. Bollinger has been such a solid wall in that net for the Panthers today. Fantastic performance in this game.
Yeah, you're really happy if you're Chapman with your goalie right now, just being able to make stops when he's needed to, and just, again, be that stone wall in the cage.
Absolutely. The Panthers driving down the field here. Not making it easy at all for these Mustangs to fend off these attackers for the Panthers. Taking the energy out of the Mustangs as much as possible. Back in the X. Oh, and a miscue. Picked up by the Mustangs. They've got possession. The long stick mini driving down the field. Oh, an attempt at a swat from behind from the Chapman Panthers. But contains control. The Mustangs blocked away from the Panthers. On the ground, Mustangs have picked it up again. He's dancing around, looking for any opportunity to make a shot on goal. Ryan Sanders, one of the key players. We haven't seen much from him today. Now they'll reset their lineup out there on the offensive side for the Mustangs. Jack Kramer, another one of those key players that we've been talking about.
If you're the Mustangs, you're a bit more happy with this situation right now, as at least it's on your side of the field. You want to have some time for your defense to kind of get into formation when they need to, not be running over to that side of the field all the time, because then, you know, you could get flustered. But being able to be on your side and have these chances on the goal is what you need at this point in the game.
Mustangs driving through. Still, the shot clock running down. No, sorry, the quarter coming down here as the Panthers trying to look for a quick opportunity at something. The ball is on the ground again. 10 seconds left in the third quarter. The ball still looking at, oh, the Panthers have got it. Picking it up, here comes George McGurk. Hands it over and in. Beautiful transition goal from the Panthers.
Yeah, that can't feel good right now if you're the Mustangs going, you know, into the fourth quarter and, you know, George McGurk just lobs one in like that. It can't feel great, but you can't focus on that. You need to come back, play like it's like 1-0 out there. You just have to try.
Jackson Wells was on that goal just now, and it's been such a one-sided game today, and if you're the Mustangs coach, it's most likely tough for any of these guys out there today. Such a tough matchup. As we said, the Panthers taking advantage of every single opportunity, of course.
Yeah, just overall, 3-16, you know, score. Not exactly what we thought we were going to see from this matchup. Not that it hasn't been an exciting game, of course. Those face-offs have been rough and tumble out there. very hit heavy. We've just seen them go back and forth out there. Unfortunately, it's a tale of the defenses today. You know, we came in, we thought we were going to see a lot of attack happening, but instead we see a lot of defense.
Well, as we talk about in this quarter break right now, we're going to talk about maybe some of the few things that you've seen out here in this game so far. There's a lot of different terminology, as we spoke about before, and there's a lot of different things we can talk about as they pick up the stick here, of course. Now, we're talking about a couple things here. Now, we've talked about a dodge, of course, and a dodge is kind of what it sounds like. It's basically any type of attempt to juke. Now, the face dodge, of course, is if you're up here in front of the defender and you're able to switch hands. It's a little bit tough for me because, of course, I got a wire over here in front of me. But as you can see, face dodge is in your face. They're going to switch around in front of you as many times as they can. Now, a roll dodge is like a spin move, of course. As the attacker comes in, he comes in here, makes a roll, does a spin, of course. And then we've also got a rocker dodge, which is also like a fake out. Now, if you do a spin, fake it, and go out. All right, let's return over to the game, of course, as the quarter break comes to an end here. As the face-off takes off here once again, the Mustangs are down heavy in this matchup.
Very much so. You want to see a bit of a change of pace here. Coming out of halftime, we did see a bit of a change of pace for the Mustangs, but not enough to really make a difference in this game right now. So you just hope that your team comes out, plays their hardest, and does what they need to do.
Absolutely. Let's talk about some of these players that the captains for both of these teams. They've got a lot of interesting stories that we had them fill out on that questionnaire. They're talking about some of the biggest strengths of both of these teams, and a guy like Luke Mikolayuski was saying that this team has got a lot of grit and chemistry. I'm sure they'll be heading back to the locker room after this game and talking about this one for a while. But it's been tough out there for the Mustangs, of course, and I'm sure they want to go back and think about a reset for the next game.
Definitely so. We've seen a lot of grit out there, you know, especially in the face-offs. We've seen them battle. Chapman, their offense is just one of a kind out there. So I can understand, you know, having graduate student George McGurk out there and the people around him. And, you know, Chapman has talked about, you know, the fact that their unity is a big part of what makes their play so good. So it's good to see that unity kind of on the field and how it translates into their gameplay.
Jason Bollinger on that save. The defense for the Panthers have been doing such a great job out there. We should give them gold stars for every single one of those players out there. And one of those being Jason Bollinger should get the biggest one of them all. And that one goes wide. Maybe a miscue from the Panthers, and the Mustangs will regain possession of the ball, looking for any quick goal to make here. But as we were talking about before, oh, and a shot for the Mustangs quick, and it gets through Bollinger. Jack Kramer puts it in for the Mustangs, cutting the lead.
Yeah, I mean, you know, again, coming out, the Mustangs seem to have a bit of a fire when they come out from quarters, from halftime at the start. They have this fire. It's just translating that fire into the rest of their gameplay. And I don't doubt that they can take that fire and do that and do just that.
Absolutely. And talking about the captains once again, you see Luke Milwaukee, a lot of grit and chemistry. There's some things they like to do for fun is go dinner together, movies, or the beach to kind of get this team bonded together. Of course, his favorite player is DeAnthony Thomas. As the Mustangs have possession of the ball here, maybe trying to get another attempt at a quick score to try to cut into this lead. His pregame routine coming in today was a light breakfast because hungry dogs hunt best, but obviously it's been a different turn for the Mustangs thus far. Driving down the field, here it comes, back into the X.
You know, it's not always about the goals at the end of the day. It's about the mentality, and to have that mentality of staying hungry, staying with it, and giving it your all every single game with your teammates. you can't ask for anything more from, these players. And just having, that fortitude to just think like that is just awesome.
It's a young team, of course. It's very tough for these Mustangs to play an experienced team like this, but they'll learn from this, of course, as they go through their careers here at Cal Poly SLO. The Chapman Panthers with the possession here after a tough possession turnover from the Mustangs.
Yeah, number 26, Joe Johnson, actually said in our captain's questionnaire that one of the team's strengths is that they're, is their youth, that they're young, they're an impressionable team, and that they have extremely high potential and that they're very coachable. And I don't doubt that. I think that there's a lot of potential in this entire group. And, we're just seeing a slight glint of it today.
Absolutely. As the Panthers come down here, George McGurk is still in the game as the Panthers have a lot of their subs out there, giving them a lot of playing time here, of course. George McGurk has been such a fantastic player. That shot going wide, and over there is McGurk to retain possession of that ball. As he comes back out here, driving towards the X, running around, driving, spin, another dodge, a shot. Oh, it got between the legs. And another goal for George McGurk. The magic continues for the Panthers.
Yeah, I mean, this offense, we knew that they were going to be pretty high-powered going into this, and I guess words can't explain it enough just how, talented George McGurk is out there, how talented, their offense is as a whole. These things are never easy. Playing a game like this for, as long as they do, never easy. So to see that fire and that passion every single time, that they get on the field is always incredible.
Absolutely. It's such a fantastic graduate student player here for the Panthers. The only one in these ranks, and his veteran leadership has been the definition of the success for the Panthers. Oh, what a jump catch from McGurk as we continue to talk about his athleticism and how amazing he's been out there on this field. As he's back in the X, driving around, resetting, allowing time for his fellow Panthers to surround the Mustangs net here.
And it does seem like we have a flag down on the field. Not sure what that is just yet, as they're going to let them keep going.
We'll take a look at that once the play stops here. The Panthers still driving around, circling, pushing, driving, backs off. Another fake, driving towards the X. Still stepping, driving for the Panthers. Oh, falls down. And another flag came out. Maybe a tripping call here. Panthers can retain possession of that ball.
You saw number 26, Joe Johnson, for the Mustangs, getting out there and kind of sticking with his man, using his, his stick to kind of make sure he didn't have a space or a lane to kind of get a shot off.
Saved in the net from the Mustangs, but there's two flags on the field. We'll take a look at what that is right now. As the play resets here, of course. Looks like Mustangs are coming out. Yes, they do have a player in the box, so a man-up situation for the Panthers yet again in this game. Their second opportunity today. And once again, the man-up situation for the Panthers.
30-second offsides. Substitutions somewhere around midfield, also 1 minute.
30-second offside penalty against the Mustangs.
Penalty is being served by 23 and 8. 23 is Rami Najma.
Actually, two men out into the box for the Mustangs. Number 23, Rami Nejma, and number 8.
Now, in the game of lacrosse, offsides is a little bit different than what you see in most other sports, of course. Aside from soccer, lacrosse, offsides means there's too many players across that midfield. You need to have a certain number of players on both sides, and 5 number of players have to be on the offensive side at all times. If anything beyond that, then you're considered offsides in lacrosse.
Offside.
And just like we said, there it is, another offside. And here come the Panthers. A huge shot. It's blocked by the Mustangs. That was number 6, Josh Gottschalk.
You know, the way that they handled this man-up situation is going to be very telling, because if they can keep Chapman from scoring during this situation, it shows just how much talent they have, because that is something that's very hard to do, especially when your defense is already pretty tired as it is.
There's another flag down on the field as the Panthers have possession of this ball right now. And play will stop as we take a look at to see what the penalty is. We'll take a look here. It looks like it's on the Panthers.
Color's got to do that. Color's got to do that. Holding on George McGurk.
And it's holding on George McGurk as he'll serve time in the penalty box. Now a man-up situation for the Mustangs.
Going to the penalty box, George McGurk holding. 6-on-5 opportunity here for the Mustangs.
So the Mustangs have a man-up opportunity here again. Very similar to what a power play is in professional hockey, but the terminology, of course, different. Here come the Mustangs coming through. And this will be a big game to kind of learn from, especially if you're the Mustangs head coach. Morgan Weirder in his second year as the head coach for Cal Poly. Of course, and a shot on goal gets by Bollinger, and the Mustangs cutting the lead once again.
For the Mustangs. We apologize, we don't have it on the roster. Mustangs go by number 8, come to 7:49, quarter number 4.
And the Mustangs cutting into this lead again, but the Panthers still standing tall with 17 points to the Mustangs 5.
Max Sosa.
And while we have a bit of time here, I want to do a quick shout out to Janelle Kennedy, mom of Troy. She had to work today. Hashtag bring home the bacon.
Love the hashtag, of course, and shout out to them. Your Panthers are doing fantastic here today, of course. Doing a great job.
It's always great when you have parents supporting, you know, your athletes. That always helps them go far when they have very supportive parents.
Absolutely. We always love family here at CSBN. We're a big family here, of course. And shout out to the director today, Zach Richter, and the producer, Kaylee Smith, and everybody at the booth or at the studio with CSBN, of course. You guys have done a fantastic job today.
Yes, big ups to our director and our producer. Shout out to them.
As the Mustangs lose possession, and the Panthers pick it up. Long stick midi, and a shot on goal off the net. A ping, and the Mustangs pick it up.
By number 6 in the goal, Josh Gottschalk.
Well, let's talk about George McGurk for a minute here. Obviously a master's in leader development. His motto is never quit mentality, of course, from that questionnaire that we had him fill out. They said something they love to do with their teammates, and George McGurk said hanging out at Paul's house. I guess they had a lot of fun in this coming week, and it shows out there, of course. They're playing their hearts out there on the field against this tough Mustangs team.
They also talk about, you know, watching movies and playing board games together. Again, just how strong their bond is as players is something, you know, you can't just replicate. You know, it takes a lot of hard work from all the players to come together.
Yeah, you talk about the bonds, like Neo Nelson, one of the attack players, the business finance and economics major here at Chapman University, said at a young age, it was ingrained in his mind to play lacrosse. His dad would play with him. He was his first coach, and he fell in love with the sport because it's one of the things that he bonded over with his dad. Such a heartfelt story from the captain of the Panthers.
Checking in 8, Ben Newstrom.
As the Panthers contain possession here, putting their subs in. George McGurk does not seem to take a rest. He's still out there for the Panthers. What a move. Slipping and sliding for the Panthers. George McGurk in the X. Driving again. Ooh, close up. Oh, man. Oh, no look. Missed. Mustangs pick it up. Nice back shot attempt, but just missed the mark.
It looks like we have a flag out on the field. Not sure what that's for just yet. They're going to let them keep playing for now.
Until we have a stoppage in play, of course, is when they'll announce what the penalty is. We'll take a look at that once that is rung out here as the Mustangs have possession. The advantage is towards them right now. George McGurk said, who is from Connecticut, he said his friends all played lacrosse back where he's from, and he fell in love with it instantly because of his bond with his friends as well. So a lot of different things to talk about in terms of team bonding, of course. This Chapman Panthers team has a lot of that, and it's showing out here today.
1 minute slash penalty, 1 minute.
And on that penalty, it was a 1 minute slash against the Panthers, and the Mustangs have another man-up opportunity, the second one here today. We've seen 2 man-up opportunities for both teams in this game so far. The clock at 4 minutes and 44 seconds as we're winding down this game here against the Mustangs and the Panthers.
Overall, friendship is just kind of what sports is about, you know. A lot of people join sports teams because of friends, for friends, things like that. So it's just great to hear about, you know, the friendship and the camaraderie in, you know, in the Panther side. You know, that's always great.
A holding call against the Mustangs, and the Panthers will get the possession of the ball as a stick was dropped there by number 23. Leander Rickers, the defensive man for the Panthers. And the Panthers will have possession of this ball. Number 42, Luke Morissette, has had a fantastic game for himself today. Doesn't need to do much here in this one, as the Panthers are just starting to try to eat away at this clock now, trying to finish this one off against the Mustangs. It's been a rout. And driving down here once again towards the X. Here comes George McGurk. Panthers regain possession. Still battling out there. It just seems like the Panthers just have all the energy as George McGurk puts a goal in the back of the net again. It's a fantastic performance continuing in here from a week ago and always looking fantastic.
Yeah, I mean, you can't ask for more. Just a great athlete out there, George McGurk. He finds any opportunity he can, and he makes things happen, you know. Kind of like a Steph Curry. Take any shot, and he'll make it.
He's definitely got the leadership mentality of it. Doesn't run out of energy a whole lot. A face-off violation as it's in favor of the Panthers. And it's like you said, George McGurk, he seems almost unfair with his style of plays. Seems advantageous against these Mustangs with the youth, and George McGurk has all the experience in the world.
I will say we have seen the Mustangs, you know, in the second half kind of have a bit of a better game overall. I mean, not the game you want to have, but in terms of improvement from the first half, we have seen them kind of tighten up a little bit and, you know, going in the right direction overall.
It just seems like they're tiring down here for the Mustangs. Of course, they've had so many opportunities to make a shot on goal. They changed the face of this game for them in terms of strategy, but so far it's still been tough. The Panthers are continuing to just impose their will against the Mustangs.
Bit of a tough offense to go against these Panthers.
It's such a big team. Of course, that shot almost went wide and caught with one hand on the net there. And now they're driving towards down the field. Ryan Sanders was the one that caught that with one hand on the stick. And those key players, of course. It's been tough for these key players. We haven't seen or talked about much about them today for the Mustangs. Ryan Sanders And Jack Kramer, of course.
Yeah, we've mentioned Jack Kramer's name a couple of times. Again, kind of being a leader out there on that team as a captain.
And as we're talking about Ryan Sanders, he just made a goal against the Panthers, and that gets by. And the Mustangs will cut into the lead once again.
Again, it's like they can hear us talking about them, you know, take that opportunity, shine a little bit. Don't just talk about the captain, talk about me as well, says Ryan Sanders as he gets that shot off. It gets it to go in. You know, may not have been the day we thought he was going to have, but still making an impact when he can.
Well, you should be a fortune teller in that case, of course. We're talking about this up here as seemingly predicting every single thing that's going on down there. Here come the Mustangs. The ball's on the ground. It's picked up. Ooh, lost possession. A brawl between the Mustangs and Panthers. It's still on the ground. It's scooped up by the Mustangs. And now the Mustangs have possession, looking for some kind of quick goal again. Never say never, of course. As we always reference the greatest Super Bowl between the Patriots and the Falcons. Any comeback is possible.
Any comeback is possible. We do have 1 minute to go on the board, of course, though.
Oh, the Panthers pushing players around. Here comes Jason Bollinger. He's got the ball. Looking like this might be the dagger for the Panthers. As they run down the field, enough time to eat away at this clock. And a shot and in! Talk about a last-minute goal to finish off with the dagger from the Panthers.
Yeah, you can see them hyped up on the sideline for the Panthers, just kind of putting the finishing touches on what was a great day for them on, you know, all sides of the ball. You know, you talked about your 3 pillars earlier today. I think all 3 pillars have been hit on this Panthers team.
Absolutely. That was Miller for the Panthers down there on that goal. He has the number 0, so had a little trouble looking for his number in that scrum. But again, with the dagger, seemingly like this game is off to a finish. And a push from behind as the Panthers, no, I'm sorry, the Mustangs have possession of the ball at the moment. It's been such a tough game for these Mustangs here today.
Do have to commend their goalkeepers. You know, it's a hard job, you know, playing goalkeeper against a team like the Panthers. Lucas Chu, you know, let some slip through, but did keep his own on the game, you know, being able to take a couple and just save what he could.
As the game is finished here, down here at Chapman Stadium, the Panthers walk away with the win, 19-6. The final score here in this game between the Panthers and the Mustangs. It's been a pretty one-sided affair between both of these teams. We thought it was going to be a closer one, but the Panthers, obviously that experience came into play, and they show you that they had the bigger upside advantage against the Mustangs.
Yeah, they didn't look tired from that last game that they had at all. They came out guns blazing. It was just able to put out a great performance on every part of the field.
Absolutely, yeah. We saw Jason Bollinger, one of those key players, like we said. Huge day today blocking that net for the Panthers. Did a fantastic job as like the big solid steel wall that it is for this defense. George McGurk didn't miss a step today, continuing his reign of terror for the Panthers, of course. And we've seen a lot of big plays from these Panthers here today, but they just had the bigger upside of both of these teams. The Mustangs, their key players, we didn't have time to kind of mention them a lot because the Panthers were just taking that advantage here and there the entire time.
Yeah. Overall, Lucas Chu as goalkeeper for these Mustangs did put in a lot of work. Unfortunately, he can't do it himself. He did, you know, put up a very good effort. We knew that the goalies were going to have an impact on this game, and he did. There were shots that he saved. You know, he was able to kind of be maybe not a difference maker, but did have an impact out on that field. And then Ryan Sanders, we didn't get to talk about his name a lot. He maybe was a little bit quieter than we were intending today, but overall, you know, just kind of came in and did what they could. Unfortunately, again, this Panthers offense was just insane.
Well, we're going to head it over to the replays as we see some of the highlights from today's matchup here today against the Mustangs and the Panthers. It's been really tough, and you see the Mustangs early on were pushing hard against the Panthers, and they got by Bollinger a few times, but that just comes with time in this game, of course. And as time went on, the Panthers just continued their reign. As you're going through it, you see George McGurk shooting that shot. He's been an absolute artist on that field, switching it around against Chu, making him frustrated. The key player for the Mustangs, Chu, had a tough day today, but I want to say it probably was not certainly on him the entire day. The Mustang defense was very tiresome out there on that field.
No, this game of lacrosse, you know, it's a team game, and Chapman just, you know, put the pieces together and worked as a united front against these Mustangs, and that was a bit of a difference from, you know, what we may have seen on the other side of the ball.
Absolutely. As you continue to see some of these highlights, George McGurk is probably the theme of almost every single one of these so far. He's been masterful at every single point, but we've seen a few other players, of course, for the Panthers doing fantastic stuff out here. Of course, a big breakout from Luke Morissette, who had 3 goals on the day, and it seemed like George McGurk early on was going to be like the support player for the Panthers, but then they turned it around immediately and said, I'm going to be the MVP again, and I'm going to shoot these goals and score them in there, and he certainly did that once again. Well, we're going to talk about, well, we've said it too many times already, but George McGurk would be our MVP for this game here today. Once again, reigning George McGurk, of course, and you see he's been everywhere all day, every day in the X, hiding back there, waiting for his big chance, and he took every single moment and every chance, making Chu do the splits in the net, and as George McGurk doing a great job out there.
Yeah, I believe it's 7 goals on the day, just like his number 7. You know, just a very impressive outing, being able to get around the defenders and just make opportunities. You know, having space and making space sometimes are 2 different things, and I think he does both. You know, he makes space for himself and he finds where he can have space.
Absolutely. Take a look at some of the offload. You got to give some of the credit to these Panthers set pieces for the Panthers, of course. They were giving it to George McGurk, and he was doing his job as well. But you talk about this team bonding, of course. A lot of energy between these Panthers. It seemed like the puzzle was all coming together as the pieces came through, and they just broke through Mustangs hard and hard all day, and it was just a tough matchup for these Mustangs, of course. And as we talk about this, of course, and once again, if you're interested in helping support the Panthers, of course, the men's lacrosse, and who are self-funded as well, they got a fundraiser, of course, if you choose to donate to them. Of course, if you want, take out your phone, scan the QR code, and if you want to support, more information will be there, of course. But what can we take away from this game?
I mean, just how powerful these Chapman Panthers are. We expected a close game. Maybe we thought too little of them. We underestimated them. They came out and they wanted to show we are able to do it.
Absolutely. Well, this has been Justin Lee alongside Angelique Ramirez here, of course, from everybody at Chapman Sports Broadcast Network. This has been Men's Lacrosse. And make sure you follow us at the official Chapman Sports Broadcast Network on all the social media platforms, of course. It's been a great day out here. We're going to enjoy this celebration, of course, and thank you guys for tuning in for this great game.